Hello all. This is kind of a delayed version of the roundtable. Um, Sorry about that. I wasn't feeling very well last week and I didn't get them out. So some of this stuff is kind of dated, but I hope you all enjoy the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And again, my deepest apologies that this didn't get out sooner. And hope you enjoy. Hello all and welcome to another roundtable. Today's roundtable is going to be on a wonderful topic. But first, before I get to the topic, because I don't want to talk about it right now, Jeff Franklin and Mark the Infinitely Tired, how are we doing? And I also have to change my name.
Oh, hanging in there. It's been a challenge last week.
Same here, just busy at work and still recouping from bad sinus infection. Yay.
Yes. The wonderful pollen season.
Oh, yes.
It's also cold season. That's what I've been recovering from.
Well, in about a month, I'll be in flood season. I mean, right now I'm still in snow season, but another month and a half, 2 months, we'll be in flood season. But that's the point.
Hey, we got some ice the other day.
Oh yeah, I got some more in my backyard. You can have.
What is this magical snow and ice that you people talk about?
Mark, cram it. All right. So today's topic, without further ado, is the invasion of Poland in 1939. There may be overtones that and correlations that I won't be drawing during this video, but you can do so on your own time.
I wonder what those could be.
But at any rate, moving along, because I'm not getting into modern stuff on this channel, but I will on the other one, but not on this one. So, 1939. I don't think I've gone long enough in the video to say his name. So, the leader of Germany has retaken a few things, basically torn up the Treaty of Versailles and burned it for all the world to see. Anything that was in the Treaty of Versailles has basically been erased by now, for the most part.
Yeah, and England and France, they pretty much allowed them to do it because they wanted to appease Germany.
We are in the appeasement era.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, every time that the leader of Germany has decided that he wanted a piece of land, a country, rules of the treaty to be overlooked, they have looked the other way. They've made pretty good big words, but no real action when it came down to it. The Prime Minister of England, just a little while ago, landed in England and was telling them about how he arranged peace in our time. There's a speech that didn't age well, the fastest in the world. Later, we would see him step down and Winston Churchill take the prime ministership. That speech being heavy on his mind. So we fast forward to 1939. The stage has been set. The leader of Germany has agreed with Stalin that they are going to invade Poland and carve it up, and they're gonna work together. And I don't think Stalin doesn't come in to Poland, but they've made the decision that they've already basically carved up Eastern Europe. Secretly, the Allies don't know this yet.
Yes.
We're talking in hindsight here, and I'm giving a very brief overview here. We could go half an hour to an hour just on this garbage, just on this stuff. But basically, Stalin the leader of Germany has secured his Eastern Front because Stalin is his ally at this point. And so he emboldened by this, he's been pretty much warned that, Poland is a no-go zone. You go there and, likelihood France will declare war. He decides that, well, they've appeased me so far. They're not going to do a darn thing. Not over Poland. So, in 1939, in September, the leader of Germany crosses the Polish border. But he does it in a very interesting way. He mocks up a fake attack on a German installation. And then he claims he was attacked first. Turns out later on, with hindsight, those were just German soldiers. But anyway,
yeah.
It's the most common belief anyway. That was a false flag.
It was on a radio station, wasn't it?
Yeah. And in all likelihood, that was just done for publicity's sake. So he goes into Poland, and he's given an ultimatum by the at that time, the Allies, which was Britain and France. And he doesn't heed it at all, because as far as he's concerned, well, they let me away with this before. And then it comes down. They declare war. And we transition from the appeasement era to what most historians, even especially the modern ones, will deem the phony war. The play war. Reason being, France and Britain didn't send a single boot to the ground of Poland. I mean, France did.
It appeared that the BF didn't even. Well, the BF didn't even make it out of France.
No,
France was
France made a couple of slight incursions into German territory, but then they pulled back.
Yeah,
back to the Maginot Line. So they declared war, but they still really didn't do really anything, and Poland fell. And Poland was emboldened to not yield to the leader of Germany when they were asked to, because as far as they knew, they had these two massive countries that went, no, we got your back. If he dares cross that border, we got you. Well, we did go to war, but they didn't make it to Poland.
Well, wasn't most of this about getting to the corridor? I mean, opening up the Polish corridor to get to Danzig, because Danzig was a major support of Germany, and Danzig was mostly German citizens, mostly Germans that lived there.
Yeah, well, Danzig was lost in the Treaty of Versailles.
Right.
So they put this land barrier between Germany and Danzig. And it just happened to be Poland. And yes, you're right. They wanted the port city. So they wanted the lands that were technically Poland, but, we just want Danzig back. And they went no, and they were emboldened by the fact that France and Britain both told Poland, if he attacks you, we're going to be there. Don't worry about it. We got it. and he won't dare mess with us.
Well, let's go back a little bit further. I mean, with the annexation of Czechoslovakia and Poland participating in it to help them with it, just set themselves up to be invaded. I mean, that
right.
I mean, that in itself speaks of a volume. It's like, hey, we'll let you annex this land, but you're also opening yourself up to attack when you do that.
Yeah.
Kind of like what's going on right now, without saying what's going on right now.
Yeah.
well, Russia kind of did the same thing with their agreement with Germany.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had the secret agreement, we'll divide up Poland, and they were concerned that the Allies would not back or care about Russia, so they made that agreement. Well, what happened? Well, Germany advanced east into Russia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So. Well, it gave them a better launching point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the Poland's fate was basically sealed the day pen hit paper on the agreement between Russia and Germany, which actually did shock the Allies. To be fair, it did come as a surprise. Before that hit pen to ink, or ink to paper, that if you would have told any of the leaders of the time that Germany and Russia were going to ally, they would have laughed you out of the room. Because, I mean, am I far enough into the video yet? Hitler's
11 minutes.
Yeah, Hitler's speeches just getting into power. We're all against Russia. Like, Russia was enemy number one, above France, above Russia was enemy number one because he was anti-communist. Not saying that it, great leadership or anything. I'm just stating the facts here.
Mm-hmm.
They had wars in Germany streets with the communists. Literally. Just look at the brown shirts. Which were thugs in themselves, but that's besides the point. So that was the last thing expected, was Russia and Germany to align. But Stalin, knew he wasn't ready for war, wasn't going to be ready for war for a while. Finland proved that. And he needed to buy time. So when he was approached, he went, give me the paper. I signed. Plus, he got a little bit of land out of the deal. But, okay, so I talked for a lot, so I'll give Jeff a couple of minutes here to kind of give his thoughts on some of the events and what he's found in his research, and then we'll move to Mark.
The Allies were just kind of caught off guard with this. I don't think they were ready for a war. So it took another full 8 months before really war, even though it had been declared, another 8 months for full combat to start. And that is only because Germany started advancing west towards France. So
yeah,
it took a while for the full-scale war to get going.
Well, see, there's two trains of thoughts with that. One, France had a battle plan. They weren't going to suffer like World War I.
Yeah.
They had the Maginot Line. The Maginot Line was there for a reason. It makes no sense to move out of fortifications where you can are open to many casualties when you've got this perfectly good Maginot Line that is going to hold back the Germans no matter what. Well, unless they go through the Ardennes. But they'd never go through the Ardennes. Anyway, Mark?
I mean, I can't add more than what you've both added, except for the fact that the annexation of Czechoslovakia and the Ukraine and Belarus to add. Kind of sounds familiar, doesn't it? Didn't
Maybe.
help, and also, I mean, when you get like with the Allies being caught basically with their pants down, didn't help either, and didn't immediately answer. You wonder how much could have been averted if France had taken more of an effort to move into Germany and make a strike. How would it have ended the war? Would have ended the war before it started the war, or would it have made it a little bit, at least a little bit more manageable to where they could have controlled it more? And would America have woken up in this instance had it not been for that?
No, because the United States would have.
I hate to throw the what ifs out there, but
yeah, but no. At this point in the war, no.
So I mean,
many. Well, the only thing is, if France would have made a conservative effort to launch off and make their, either go towards Berlin or go towards Poland, with most of the German forces focused in Poland, they might have had a chance to get through. But unfortunately, they allowed.
But at the same time,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But unfortunately,
I mean, at the same time, do you focus? I mean, if you're sorry.
Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
I mean, if you look at it this way, and you do a lightning strike into Poland, and rout the Germans while they're not semi-prepared for war, does that make Russia now your major enemy, with the communists becoming a major Axis power instead of becoming an ally?
No, I think it would end up being Stalin backing away the minute he finds out that they're on the back foot. Because Stalin's, I mean, if you listen to the history of today, Stalin's major plan was to allow the Western countries to fight each other, and then he was just going to clean up the mess. And all reports say Stalin was pissed off when Germany took France and how little time they took it in. They can't even fight. Now it's us. Right?
Yep.
Right? So, when France fell, it made things uneasy, but Stalin's biggest weakness was he always determined that Germany would never turn east until after Britain fell. That was his big point of contention. They would never turn east until Britain fell. Unfortunately, he was wrong. For the Russians, he was wrong. Now, as far as Poland goes, I think we can draw a lot of correlations to modern events that I just won't bring up right now. But it does you no good to appease. That's what Poland's story is. Because even after the war, they still weren't free after World War II. Right?
Yep.
That's true.
So they really didn't their trials and tribulations didn't end in 1945 like the rest of the Allies. Neither did Czechoslovakia or any of those countries.
Right.
none of it ended in 45 for them. Hell, Berlin. But we can take a lot, I think, and I'll wrap this up with this. I think we can take a lot by looking at history, because we can see where leaders made mistakes that are left as beacons to us in the now, never to do again. Sadly, our leaders aren't paying attention in their history classes. And with that, I will say thank you and good night.